Thank you. Dave, I know shots on goal aren't everything, but it took about 8.5 for you guys to register one last night. How did you feel about the Oilers' first 10 minutes or so, and how would you evaluate how the team has been in that time frame throughout the season?
I think throughout the season we've been pretty good. Last night we had a couple opportunities. Nuge had one outside, missed the net. Cuckoo came down and probably should have put it on net. Went looked for a stick in front. So we had some opportunities to get pucks to the net. But I thought the start of the game was both teams were feeling each other out. Not a lot happening.
And I don't want to get too hung up on the shot clock because it's all about goals. So, do you need more second chances? Do you need more, the old pass off the pads and try to generate opportunities that way? What do you see?
It was a tight game. It's a playoff game. The space is tight. You get pucks at the net. I mean, I think I don't know what we had. We had a lot of attempts around the net, but not enough clean ones. We had some scrums at the net, but the game dictates how the shots go.
Derek Van Diest, Post Media.
Dave, defensively, you guys limited them to 20 shots, and they got 2 goals. Usually 2 goals is good enough to win a game. What did you like about your defensive game against them? Because they do have 3 pretty good lines that they can roll.
Yeah, it was a low event game. I don't like we turned some pucks over, had a couple reads that weren't probably ideal, and given some outnumbered breaks. That being said, we got back and covered up for one. So there's a few things like that, but it was just a tight game. Like there's not a lot of grade A chances in the game. Low event game. Other than the guy sitting upstairs with his finger on the hit button. I think other than that, it was kind of a cautious game by both teams a little bit.
And Kulikov looks like he's a pretty calm character in his own zone. I know he made a couple of plays last night when he looked like he was under pressure and he was able to get out of him. What did you think of his first playoff game with you guys last night?
I thought he was solid. I thought our whole group, we had turned over a couple on the offensive blue line that you'd like to have back. But like I say, it was there wasn't a lot to like or dislike a lot. There's a few mistakes here or there. There's the things I think we could have made some more plays in certain situations. And, that's just, we expected a tight game from them. They didn't want to give any outnumbered rushes. They're trying to play a tight game. And, it turns into a low event game. You got to find some ways to make some plays. I thought our D was fine.
Daniel Nugent-Bowman, The Athletic.
Hi, Dave. You said you kind of mentioned last night the differences between regular season and playoff hockey. So I'm wondering about Jesse Puljujarvi. Is he the type of guy that can make a difference for you in the playoffs?
Well, he's that big body. You see how goals are scored, going to the net, getting around the net. That's how he scored last night. Going to the net. So he's done that all year for us. I mean, he's really come back and jumped in the North American game and really embraced that part of it. The compete to get to the front of the net, compete and stay in front of the net, and finding loose pucks around there. So he's certainly, his body size and his speed and tenacity bodes well for a playoff style game.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of asking you about that. It seems like a bit of a continuation off of what he's done in the regular season. Are you seeing the next step in his game? I know it's one game, but do you see that coming out of him, I guess, in the playoffs here?
Well, we've seen him progress all the way through from coming back over, adapting to the North American game again. But his game continues. It's maturity. He's becoming a good player with experience in the league, but he has strong work ethic and strong talents that go with it. So he's a very motivated guy right now. Wants to be a top player, and in games like that last night, first playoff game, he gets his first playoff goal. So it's good to see the work he's putting in and the effort he's putting in is getting rewarded.
Mark Spector, Sportsnet.
So I don't put a ton of stock in what happened in the bubble last year, Dave, against Chicago, but the one similarity that I do see is you guys lost a couple games on those tip goals, the Highmore deflection, the Taves deflection. Last night, the Tonanino kid gets a deflection. Is there anything to, is that a trend we should pay attention to? Is that a goal that you got to get out of your goals against category here?
Those are ones that Like you could do that 10 times. He couldn't make that 100 times. He couldn't make a deflection go off a post up in the other. Like those are playoff style goals that, there was probably, I bet you there's 20 shots similar to that last night and one went in. So to say that that's a problem with is going in on you, those are playoff style goals that pucks get thrown at the net. Some go in, some don't. But it's not a high percentage play. It's not a play that you say, okay, we got to, like taking away an odd number man rush or whatever. You've got pucks that just get thrown to the net, and sometimes players get their stick on it, and they hope it goes in. A lot of times it doesn't, but the odd time it does, and that was the result last night.
So the other thing I'd say is outside of your organization, a lot of people look at the Oilers and say, if we shut down their top two guys, we shut down the Edmonton Oilers. Is this a moment for the rest of your team to stand up and say, hey, we're here too. We can get something done even if McDavid and Draisaitl don't carry the load.
I think we took steps in that direction this year, and I think there was a big fuss about us winning a game without Leon and Connor getting on the score sheet, and we did that a number of times this year. So our group recognizes that. I mean, last night's game is a low event game. The big guys on either team, nobody contributed other than empty net. So that's playoff style hockey. Everybody has to contribute both offensively and defensively. It's no different than. We want our top players, they've got to play well in their own end, play well without the puck, and you've got to have guys that are checkers or grinders. They've got to find ways to help out on the scoreboard too. So that's where you get to with a balanced team, and everybody's relied on to do their job, but sometimes in the playoffs, you have to find other areas to win, and I think we've done a better job of learning how to do that this year.
Jim Matheson, Post Media.
Dave, Cassian's game last night, it looked like he played a safe, controlled game where he was kind of concerned. Like he likes to be a bit of a raging bull and he didn't want to take a penalty. How did you just assess his first game? And I know he hasn't played in a month. Does he have to change the way he plays? Or he played kind of a safe game, I thought, last night?
Well, he took a run at the guy. I would like to see him be a little safer. Took a run at the guy on their first goal. Took him out of position, but he was involved in the game. He was getting the feel, but he was, that game was a cautious game by both teams, so it's his first game in a month. He'll get up and going. I thought, he handled the puck well. The pace wasn't a problem for him, so I anticipate he'll continue to get better, but his game was all right last night.
And McLeod didn't play a lot of minutes because you started, playing Connor and Leon together and getting their minutes up. Is that just the case, or was there something in this game?
No, there was just a couple.
Play more than that.
No, there was a couple times, and I'm just looking to change it up, whether it be a offensive zone face-off or something. He was, for his first playoff game, he was solid. He was fine.
Jason Gregor, TSN 1260.
Dave, you mentioned it's a cautious game. You always talk about how you want to kind of dictate and do what your team does well. One of your biggest strengths is, of course, creating scoring chances off the rush. And in the regular season, you did a lot of that. You did it well against the Jets. Last night, only 5. Was that more what they were doing, or was there something you weren't doing to create more off the rush, which is one of your strengths?
Well, I think we've heard it all week between you guys talking about McDavid off the rush and how that's been a factor in the series against them. I know Paul well. I'm sure that's a tactic that they would say they'd like to take out of our game. So part of it is what they're doing. That being said, I think there were some areas last night of our game that can improve, some plays that can get made to help us be better in that area. So it's probably a combination of both.
So when you want to improve off the rush, because it's not as simple as just say, well, give McDavid the puck, he's got to wheel up. Is it D-men moving the puck quicker? Is it other forwards, being a good decoy on the other side to ensure that they don't know where the puck's going? What are the small details you'd like to see your team improve on so you can generate more?
There's a lot of them. They're just it's a combination of all the things you're talking about. You got to have good outlets, quick outlets, make the play. It's got to be on the tape, in stride, quicker transition. I mean, there's all those above are areas that you talk about all the time with good transition hockey. So execution is at the forefront. If you want to be quick, you better execute quick, and it better be clean, not bouncing around. So there's a lot of factors that go into it, but if you just said, well, okay, this is what we got to do better, that's not the case. There's a number of factors that come in that have to be in place.
Ryan Rashog, TSN.
Dave, Mike Smith and Ethan Bear, I believe, weren't at practice today. Is there any update there, or are they both available for game two?
They're both fine, just maintenance days.
Okay. We're obviously going to analyze everything closely. This wasn't a practice where there was a lot of line rushes. There was one point where they were going together in threesomes.
There was no set lines today at all. It was just up with getting flow.
You played a lot of McDavid and Draisaitl together towards the end of that last game. Do you consider more of that moving into next game? Did you like it, what you got from them, or what do you think?
We'll see. We'll go through it with the staff today and go through and see where we're at. But there was parts of our game that we liked. There was parts of our game that I think we're going to be better.